You're tuned in to a special installment of The Edition, broadcast live from the 4th Annual Digital Storytelling Festival in Crested Butte, Colorado. Coming to you from an old brown barn next to a babbling brook, through phone lines, T1s, and microwave internet connections for Go GaGa brand radio, I'm Don Wrege, and I'll be your host for the next hour as we talk with the amazing folks here to celebrate the art of digital storytelling. Stay tuned to hear highlights from the festival. Join us as we go behind the scenes to meet people who make it all possible. Today we'll speak with web journalist, personality, and instructor Justin Hall, children's interactive game designer Dr. Brenda Laurel, a legend of several industries, Mr. Harry Marks, and we'll check in again with Salon senior editor Scott Rosenberg for his daily commentary and insight. Stay tuned for all this and more coming up on The Edition on Go GaGa brand radio. And speaking of personal sites, it's hard to imagine anyone's web pages being more personal than those of our first guest, Justin Hall. Just 23 years old, Mr. Hall has been a web legend for years. He first climbed on the internet in '88 and then onto the web in '94. He helped create the web revolution at Wired magazine in San Francisco with Howard Rheingold. His own wildly popular site, Justin's Links, grew to include an intensely revealing diary of his life, spanning 1,800 pieces of HTML he crafted entirely by hand. Justin now has a television program on ZDTV teaching web construction, and we'd like to find out more about that. Welcome, Justin. Thanks for being with us.
Geez, thanks, Don. That's a killer intro.
What's this ZDTV thing all about?
Well, it's actually, the whole deal is, they're looking to start a new cable channel about computers. They figure this is a good segment of the market to penetrate, and so they tapped me as a young guy. I could teach the web, and I had some enthusiasm, some expertise, and some connections, and they lured me out to the beautiful Bay Area with promises of a half-hour show a week and opportunities to interview my weirdo friends and, actual airtime. And then as it turned out that they decided that I'm going to be a 5-minute guest once a week teaching people how to put their resumes on using Microsoft Publisher in other shows. Actually, it's I'm trying to figure out how to do TV now because I've got the TV bug because they gave it to me, but it looks like ZDTV is not going to give me a whole lot of time for a couple months yet. So ZDTV is look for me on Tuesdays for 5 minutes on another show called Call for Help. So it's not really like a big thing in my life, but they pay me enough money that I can do other things all the time, like the stuff we'll talk about for the rest of the interview.
Okay. Well, what got you to ZDTV was your exploration of the early days of the web, and what fascinates me is how free you were in years past with personal information and revealing much of yourself. And what did you learn about other people when they reacted to what you were putting out there, which in a sense was a real-time diary?
Yeah, I guess, I guess I learned that other people are not like me. I mean, I came up with it. It almost became like a religious thing for me that, kind of a truth will set you free kind of deal. And it became this paradigm like, okay, there's something in my life that I'm really embarrassed about. Well, that's exactly the thing I should publish. One, because it's just probably great material because it involves sex, death, drugs, or relationships, whatever. But on the other hand, if I can reveal it and get it off my chest, then it's nothing that anyone could ever hold against me. You know what I mean? You're not going to find any skeletons in my closet if I'm constantly breaking them out and showing everybody what's going on. So I found that there are other people who are not getting into that, and I actually found, there's some things that I'm not inclined to talk about all the time either, but I don't know, in some way it reinforced something in me because there were times when people would come to me and they'd say, Justin, you've written a page about me and I don't like it. And I'd say, well, I wrote this page out of love. And they said, well, I don't want that information shared. And then for me, I had to say, would I rather be friends with this person or would I rather write the truth as I see it? And I said, I'd rather be friends with the person. I'm no Truman Capote. So I said, I'll take the page down and, go with the friendship, which is, I think, a rewarding thing for me because I found people that are pretty willing to be forgiving. My poor family, for example, is pretty open-minded considering, I think, what they've been through. Just having to deal with someone revealing that so much stuff about them and their relationships.
Well, going back to Justin's Links, what year range was Justin's Links, and what did it start out as a link of kind of racy sites, correct?
Yeah, you got it. I mean, Justin's Links started in January '94 just because it seemed real easy to make web pages because people were doing pretty silly web pages. So I thought I'd take my stab at it, and what I did, I'm 19 years old. I met Oliver North. He signed my drug paraphernalia, and I got these 10 sites on Ollie North, these 10 sites on drugs, these sites on digital culture, and this sex stuff you can see. And that was pretty much what I was doing, is just telling people where to see weird stuff.
And how did you get involved with Wired Magazine and Howard Reingold?
Oh, well, I started doing all that, and then, people would write.
Where were you living at the time?
Oh, I was in college out east. I was living in Willits, a dormitory at Swarthmore College, in the basement, or first floor. And people would read this site, and they'd say, oh, great links, and I really like that poem. So that inspired me to put up lots more personal content. So I kind of had a site that had a lot of edgy stuff and a lot of personal stuff, and it was kind of big. There weren't a lot of personal sites then, so I had really wanted to work at Wired, because when I saw Wired in high school, I said, wow, this is a computer magazine with people on the cover. That's badass. That's really cool. I got to get involved with them. So I called, every department. I called 3 or 4 different departments offering to scrub trash cans with toothbrushes, and they were giving me no way, no how on all fronts. And then I called the online division in May or something and begged for an interview, and gave him my URL, and Julie Peterson was there at the time. She said, all right, you got Cary Grant on acid. That's pretty funny. You can come out. And I came out and interviewed, and they said, sure, we'll take you, and we won't pay you anything. And that went on for a few weeks. Thank you, kind mother. And that's where I met Howard, and he was kind of looking for someone who was young and inclined to do Howard Reingold type things and talk and shoot the, shite, and we'd sit around and have a good old time. Well, I thought everybody was going to be clamoring to spend time with him because he was famous and important and smart and funny and cool and stuff, but then it turns out that everybody was so busy doing their own thing that I got a lot of time to spend with him. We were of like minds, so we developed a relationship that continued on after he was the first employee to quit and I was the third. So
wow. Speaking of minds,
yeah, right.
It leads right into your next project with Howard, which was Electric Minds.
I taught Howard how to make a web page because I had such success with it. I thought, I'm really of the mind. All the listeners of this radio show and everybody have your own website, because no matter what else happens, you can always return to that. You can be developing your own content, your own brand, as we were talking about at the festival earlier. And it's really a great place to kind of develop your ideas and stuff. Howard had his own site, and he developed it, and he said, oh, my friends are such great people. I want to get my friends involved in the internet, and I want to pay them, and I want to find a way to make money and pay my friends to make internet content. Well, and then he started saying business plan, Randy Haken, investors, venture capital, companies, corporate sponsorships, allegiances, and it became this enormous thing, and that was Electric Minds, which was, rewardingly enough, a wonderful experiment with beautiful intentions, and it's a website I wish existed and flourished, but in fact it was bankrupt 3 months after it was declared one of the 10 best sites of the year by Time magazine. And I got a wonderful letter from Howard, which in August the year it went bankrupt, he said, you were right, Justin. I never should have written a business plan. I should have just, taken some ads from some people I knew, maybe made a little money, but really bootstrapped it. Because I said, Howard, you'll have much better luck if you don't try and make this so big, but if you just try and manage it as a site where you're doing your own thing, and that's what he's doing now. So you can go to Howard's site, and he's got a little community where he's doing his thing. I've got a little community where I'm doing my thing. What's
the URL of that?
Oh, I'm doing www.bud.com because I had such a great time doing my links. I always wanted my friends to get involved with the web, but none of them were ever interested that much in learning HTML, either lazy or too smart or whatever. They didn't have the time to waste like I did. And I was so frustrated that all these brilliant people I knew wouldn't learn how to make web pages, so I figured I'd make a place where I could publish them and goad them to give me content. And so I'm running this site, bud.com, and it's open to anyone who wants to contribute to it.
And Howard's URL?
Is Reingold.com. That's,
okay.
Pretty straightforward.
And very briefly, because we just have about a minute left,
yeah.
Are you in this homepage movie? What can you tell me about that?
Oh, yeah. So then this guy, he wanted to get involved with the internet movies, and he said, I got to get on this homepage. This is a real phenomenon, so I got to find this guy. Justin Hall seems to be exemplary of the phenomenon just because I was writing so much. He kind of followed me around for a while, and I don't know. I used to look crazy. I had this thing growing out of my head the last time I came to the festival. There's actually festival footage in the thing from 2 years ago, and it's so weird, man. The thing's 117 minutes long, and I'm about to sit through it for the third time with a big audience, and it's just kind of, I love the guy, and I really respect his intentions, and if anyone was to reflect me and I didn't have control over it, I think I could do a lot worse than Doug, and he's really such a decent guy, and with the same kind of ethics as a lot of the storytellers have here, but from another medium. Just people bootstrapping it himself, profiling people who are doing it themselves, single people, individuals, personalities, small creative things. It's great stuff. Rock on.
So we can learn more about you at www.justin.org.
Yeah, sure.
And
great.
we can learn more about what you're doing now at www.bud, right? B-U-D?
Yeah, you got a personal webpage?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Mediahorror.com.
Mediahorror.com.
Yes.
There we go.
And I wish I could talk for you for an hour, but
all right. Well, I'm honored.
Move on. Thank you very much. This has been Justin Hall, web legendary hero, and future in front of him.
Don't believe it, folks.
Okay, don't forget that you can learn more about the Digital Storytelling Festival simply by visiting the website at www.dstory.com, and we'll be right back after this short break.